Discipline shouldn't be in any form of abuse. Although psychological or verbal abuse is one of the most common forms of violence, it is also one of the least addressed. A set of words used to influence, intimidate, maintain authority, and control over another person is known as verbal abuse. It can happen in any sort of connection, including romantic, parent-child, familial, and co-worker relationships. People frequently say things without comprehending the extent to which their words might harm others, and by doing so, they plant the seeds of anger and misery in other people's hearts.
Gaslighting, judging, blaming, name-calling, unhealthy arguments, manipulation, threats, and false accusations are all examples of verbal abuse, which is frequently employed as a form of discipline. It has such a profound effect on a person that it can be likened to physical abuse, since harsh and below-the-belt statements can be harmful to one's mental and physical health, as well as emotions, and it can also lead to depression, anxiety, suicide, or self-harm.
Victims of verbal abuse are frequently raised or conditioned by their abuser. This may encourage the individual on the receiving end to believe that this behavior are normal, making it more difficult to spot.
Effective ways to discipline without the use of physical and verbal abuse starts within us. We must stay consistent in order to enforce the behavioral standards, which is the use of knowledge of different standards to undermine the entire system.
Instead of using abuse as a form of discipline, we must use positive reinforcement, where we praise them for that goodness instead of just punishing them for what's bad. First, giving logical consequences. Linking consequences directly to the behavior problem helps to see that their choices have direct consequences.
Another thing is losing privileges. The goal is not to punish into submission, but to help them learn to make better choices for the future.
Our society defines violence in terms of bruises. Now is the time to recognize the internal scars of verbal abuse.
No one is immune to abuse. It can damage anyone, regardless of race, gender, education level, religion, or sexual orientation.
People avoid talking about verbal abuse because it is easier to brush it under the rug and ignore it than to face the challenges of abuse, which is why we need to talk about it. We are speaking to all of you, the viewers, in order to educate, raise awareness, and inspire change. And we are speaking on behalf of individuals who have been victims of this type of abuse. You are not on your own.
You are not alone.
Nobody deserves to be abused.
No one.
Now that you know, you cannot feign ignorance. Now that you're aware of the problem, you cannot pretend you don't care. To be concerned is to be human. To act is to care.
Stop verbal abuse.